everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaley Gray, and I'm super excited to have my friend Kristen Stansell here with me today. We met through social media. She's in Texas, I'm in Oklahoma, but through talking and just through social media, we found out we have a lot more in common, which has been super fun. So it's been so fun to get to know you, Kristen. And today we're going to kind of be talking about the next best thing. And I know that's a lot of times what singles definitely struggle with. And I know that was part of your testimony because, Kristen, how long have you been married? Because I know you have 3 beautiful children.
Yes, we've been married 9 years this summer.
Wow, that's amazing. And so I want you to kind of share your testimony of the next best thing and just kind of like struggles that, and it might not even be singles. It could be people in every season, always kind of like wanting and comparing to that next best thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to share. Thank you so much for having me on today. It has been fun getting to know you, and eventually we'll meet up in real life.
Yes.
Have a cup of coffee or something.
Yes, I would love it.
Thank you for having me, allowing me to share my story. I should say our story because it's definitely my husband and I together. But for as long as I can remember, since I was itty bitty, I just had it in my head that getting married was like the thing I wanted to do. I had all kinds of dreams about business and ideas and ways I wanted to serve and do ministry, but like getting married was one of those things that just was always in the back of my head. And so growing up in the South and as a pastor's child, I saw everyone getting married at right out of high school, maybe like right out of college, having babies really young. And so I just had this preconceived notion that was like what you're supposed to do. And if you don't, then something must be wrong. So anyways, I go through high school, college, relationship after relationship, heartbreak after heartbreak, and just like, it shouldn't be this hard. I remember getting so frustrated to the point where my heart was broken at one point so much. And at this point in my life, I had been in church serving, like loved the Lord wholeheartedly, wanted to make the right decisions, but for whatever reason, after that heartbreak, kind of turned my heart total opposite direction. I was like, I did everything right. Why am I hurting? Why am I single? Why did this person hurt me so much? So that kind of just led me into a downward spiral of like, I feel so sorry for myself because I'm not where I want to be. I don't have the things that I want in life. I'm going to try to make myself happy on my own. And I stopped caring about what was right or wrong or what I should do. It was more of like, what makes me feel good in the moment. Mm. And I will just tell you, a few years of that will leave you can leave you in a completely broken and isolated, lonely place. And so that's kind of where the path that I was on in my 20s, essentially. I did, after a few years of that, I was so broken. I'll never forget driving down the highway, middle of the night, because I was doing who knows what before that. And I was just driving down the highway like, Lord, I cannot do this anymore. I'm so tired of dating the wrong guys. I'm so tired of like making these choices that are leading me to these places where I feel so broken and hurt and alone. And basically resurrendered my life to the Lord in that moment. And everything did change after that. Like, it was like God just dropped me into a new church. That's a whole nother fun story, but dropped me into the church, dropped me into community, around some great friends. And that's where my life really started to turn around. And so this was 2010. At this point, I continued dating, but now it was guys in the church. So we were at least on like a little bit better of a path. But even through that, I just got to a point where I was like, I am just so tired of the typical dating scene. I'm so tired of going on first dates. I'm so tired of this like question answer thing that has to happen every date. I was just done. I was like, I do want to get married, but I want to marry my best friend. I don't want to do this whole date thing and have to like act perfect. And I'm just going to marry my best friend. So I literally stopped dating, which is crazy. So I am one of those stories. If you've ever heard someone say like, just give up dating and then the right person is going to come to you. So I don't think that story is for everybody at all. But for me personally, it took me getting to a surrendered place in my heart that was like, Lord, I don't want it if it's not for me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to even participate in the dating game, as you maybe call it, if it's just like for vain reasons and that is not going to go anywhere. And so I waited at that point until I felt like there was somebody that was my best friend. And so in comes my now husband. Literally, he starts showing up everywhere I go. I mean, as a friend, he was there to help me. I had many different roles, like in things that I was over and organizing at that time in my life. And he would just show up to help. And he'd also show up to eat the food that I was like preparing or whatever. But, you know, he just kept showing up and we had so much fun together. And it was maybe like a good, like 6 months to 8 months of that. And then all of a sudden, literally 2 months, I was living in Texas at the time. I was about to move to California. So literally 2 weeks before I moved to California is when him and I realized like, oh, we like each other. This is horrible timing. I'm about to move thousands of miles across the country. What are we thinking? But we just took it day by day and trusted God with where we were at. And like, I knew in my heart, I was like, this person is, if he's not the person that I'm marrying, whoever I'm marrying is going to be incredible, because I knew that he was just an outstanding person. And so anyways, we just took it day by day. And through that process, he did end up moving out to California to continue to pursue me. God opened up doors for him to have a job, an amazing place for him to live until we got married. And then, yeah, we got married out there. And wow. That's kind of our story in a nutshell. So that might've been a little bit more than you even had originally heard, but yeah, it's just such a neat way that God even like brought us together through all that I had gone through prior.
I love that. And I love to like, I know we've talked about like how God doesn't give like cookie cutter relationships for everyone, like how he specifically like orchestrates and designs each one for each person. And I love that, like, even just like giving up dating, like, I mean, you kind of like gave up dating, but like in that, did you have to come to a point of like contentment in your life, like that you were okay with being in the season that you were in?
I did. Yeah. It was finally, that was the year. So this would be this was 2011. So that was the year where I finally realized, I was like, I don't need to try and put myself in places for my husband to find me. Like, I kind of always thought like, I'm afraid to do this because what if my husband's not there? Or I need to go here because maybe my husband's there. That year was finally the year that I started doing the things that I knew I was called to and that were like purposes inside of me. And I just went after those things hardcore. And I just kind of believed, this is kind of how I saw it. I was like, if I'm on my path, doing everything that I know I'm supposed to do and that I'm called to do and being responsible and faithful, then I'm like, the person I'm going to marry has got to be right alongside me. I don't have to deviate from my path to find him. Like, he's going to come alongside me. And so there was contentment in that, because for the first time I was doing the things that I felt called to do. And that brought so much joy. And even like, just, I feel like there's so much blessing in when you're being faithful in the small things and like serving to your heart's capacity. Like, there's just so much goodness that comes with that. So
no, that's so good. Because before we had talked, this was a scripture I had thought of, is like being content is Proverbs 16:9. In his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determines my steps. And I just think that's so true, because there are so many times that we try to plan what we want to do, but like how God gives us that contentment, how he is just with us and he is determining our steps of like where we should go. And they're always the right steps. You know what I mean? So that's awesome.
I can even add a little bit to that.
Yeah.
I was thinking initially, like on paper, this is kind of what I'm looking for on the outside. Right? Like, this is like I want this person to have this, and this, have this kind of job, be this like stable, be this like even like physical appearance. I had this idea.
Yeah.
And the way that God brought Clay and I together, if I was just looking at kind of the more exterior checkbox type list, I would have never seen him. But it was like the Lord brought him in my life as a friend. And because of that relationship, I saw what was in his heart and his life. And like over the past, 10 years now, 11 years that we've known each other, like I've seen more and more come out of him that I'm like, that wasn't even there when we got married. I'm like, who are you now? Because it's just, he's grown and grown and grown. So I just want to add that too, because like we can make all these plans or think what we need or want for our life, but ultimately God does know best.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I love that. I've had friends tell me that too. Like, but I think too, like God will give you those desires in your heart, that what you want in the other person, but not to always look at the exterior, but to look inside. I think that is definitely more important. Like something my friend has always told me, she's like, Kaley, it doesn't matter what his wardrobe is. You can always change it. Like, it's okay.
It's true.
That's hilarious. I love it. And I think too, like, something I had written down is contentment doesn't mean I desire nothing, but the decision to be happy with what I do have. And I think when you come to that point of being content in whichever season you're in, it's not where you're giving up. Because I feel like so many times when you say I'm content, people think, oh, they're giving up. But you're not giving up. You're choosing to have joy in the season you're in. And that is, something that you said that you've done. And I know that's personally what I've done in the seasons that I've been in. And what do you think, like, this journey you've been on, time you've had, like, what is like one last thing that you could give to singles or anybody like in a season that, they're always looking for that next best thing? Like, what is something that you think that they need to know?
Well, I think in that looking for the next best thing, you're in a waiting season, right? Because you have something in your heart or your mind that you're kind of after. You're like, okay, things are okay right now, but I think things will be better when I'm dating someone. Things are going to be better when I'm married. Things will be better when I have the house or when I have the job. It's like this constant revolving like idea of the next place is going to be so much better. And so like when I look back to the season where whether I was dating or not dating, or for me in that singleness season, I longed for a husband so bad. And I know like the lonely feeling, seeing everybody else get married. I didn't get married till I was almost 30. And so I watched a lot of friends get married and have babies. And I just kind of felt behind, and I really struggled with that. And it was hard. And if I could just go back and tell myself to like, keep your chin up and trust God in the process, that he's not going to disappoint, and that his timing is perfect, and he'll work things out the way that they're supposed to work out if you just trust him. But this is what I would tell myself is enjoy every single day. And if you don't have things in your life that you're currently enjoying, find out what you enjoy and serve other people. Joyce Myers is so great. And one of her podcasts I was just listening to, she's like, if you're in a waiting season and you're truly desiring the next best thing, she's like, trust God and do good. And so find ways to do good, to serve other people, because there is joy in that. And it also takes your mind off of yourself, because in those moments, for me, at least personally, I'll start to feel sorry for myself, and like I just like what's wrong with me, and just kind of like sink into myself. But when we find ways to serve other people, we're bringing joy to them, and it also brings joy to us. And so that's what I would tell myself in that season of waiting. I just would say enjoy every single day, and if you don't have things you enjoy, figure out what it is and build the best friendships with your girlfriends, because those friendships will carry you through life. Build great relationships with people at church, serve it with your community, whatever it might look like, so that it doesn't feel like your life is on hold, because it's not, because every day is meant to be enjoyed.
I love it. I love how you said your life isn't on hold. Right. And it's so true. It isn't. Your life isn't on hold. Like, you can live it to the fullest right now, and you're going to find that person to come alongside of you and run the same race that you're running on. So you're not stuck. You're not on hold. You're not on pause. you might be waiting, but you're waiting for God's best. And I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much, Kristen. This has been so fun having you on, and just like we said, getting to know you. And I will put your social media below because I want people to follow you and connect with you. And this has just been amazing. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right. I hope you guys have a great Friday, and I will see you next time. Bye.